Hey, what's going on, guys? How all you are doing? Welcome to a new video tutorial from Untitled. Today we're gonna talk about a really nice thing. We're gonna learn or we're gonna master the Git. So Git version is like a version or distributed version control. In today's video tutorial, we're just gonna go through from A to Z about Git and learn everything about Git, so you can just start using Git on your project as a web developer or as any kind of developer out there. Start using Git right out of the box after watching this video tutorial. So hopefully you can enjoy this video tutorial, and let's just start learning Git. So this is the first guide, or this is the full guide of mastering Git or mastering the version control. Let's start by this. What is Git? So most of the people who start learning Git, they usually ask this question: what is Git? So Git is a distributed version control, or you can say just a version control system. It's free and open source, free for everyone and open source for everyone. There's no subscription, no paid subscription or no pay to use, no whatsoever, and also open source, so everyone can calibrate, enhancing and improving Git all the time. It's fully designed to handle any type of project, so big projects, small projects, any type of scaled projects. Git is designed to handle this type of project. Also, Git allows you to share and work and calibrate on code projects among developers. Not only code projects, but it's widely or mostly used for code projects. You can share other projects like, I don't know, Word, like PowerPoint project, like that simple project, but they're like usually used for code projects and big code project among developers, and widely used by all the companies that you have ever heard about: Facebook, Microsoft, whatever, like Tesla, anything out there isn't on mind about a big company, a big developer team. Yeah, it is using Git because it's just that awesome. Even small teams can use Git with no problems to manage their work, even since they're gonna work remotely, like freelancers or something, work from one from China, the other from the other side of the world, so they can work remotely on the same code base without confliction and on a really nice collaborative way. So this is what about Git. This is what actually Git is. Now let's see the main idea behind Git. So how actually Git works. So first things first, with the Git, what you do is create a repository in one of the Git version control web hosting. So like probably like all of you have heard about the GitHub, the Git like the Git repositories, the main repositories container. So the GitHub holds a Git repositories, a lot of them. So each repository represents a Git project, is being powered by the Git technology. So you need a web hosting like GitHub, Bitbucket. Some of them are free only for open source projects. So you only can upload open source and free off-chart project for free, like the GitHub or Bitbucket. You can upload either private or open source and public projects for free for your team, for like actually a maximum team members, and let all those collaborate with you on the same project without confliction and make changes only by your permission. So if you are like the owner of this repository and there's like another people who are actually collaborating in the same projects as you, and you are the owner of the actual repository, so they can't do any changes or they can't commit any changes unless you approve those like changes. So you need to like overcheck them, then approve if that. So that's what makes it looks absolutely great. Also, the teams can work together. They can change like a piece of code, about, or like the whole team is working on the same code project, so each one is working on a separate feature, then merge the whole features and make the website or something like this without code confliction. So each one of them has his own version without conflicting with the other one like version, and they have the same version. Also, GitHub is the hosting leader on the most famous version control hosting. If you don't know that, you probably know about that. It's free for open source only. So let's start learning Git by practicing this. So let's go ahead and just dive with a real world example in here. In here, as you can see, I have like a very simple project. Let's say this is gonna be like a very basic website. All I'm having here a distribution folder that holds the index.html. Let's say this is like the main page of the website, and have like style.css that represents our main style, and we have the main JS, which holds actually only the script that we're gonna have. It's basically holds an hello world, where a function that only console log a hello word to the console, and just an index.html and style has like simple style. So let's say that we have been working on this code project for like our own for a real long time right now, and like someone has joined us. So let's say someone asks, we want to join, or I want to actually join into your project. I want to work with you on this website. So you have your friend lives on the other side of the world, and you want to share this code and work together on this code. So let's see how actually in this particular case you can share with him, and you can take a closer look by explaining the basics Git and try to master things up in Git. So first things first, what you need with Git, you need like the terminal with Git. So you need to grab terminal, either CMD on Windows or Linux terminals if you're Mac or Linux. But what I like about this Visual Studio Code code editor is it has an integrated terminal that can work with Bash. If you don't know, Bash or Shell is like a Linux integrated terminal language. So yeah, we can work with it right out of the box. So just Control asterisk, you can grab that, or you can go to the View and Integrate Terminal, and you can grab this terminal right out of the box. So here's Git. We can grab Git from here. Also, make sure to install Git on your system if it's not already. Nowadays, operation systems comes with Git pre-installed, so I'm not gonna explain that. If you don't have Git, you can go ahead and search for Google, and you can install it. Linux and Mac, I'm pretty sure about that. They have this pre-installed, but for Windows, you can go ahead and search download Git, and it's just gonna have the executable, install it, and you are ready to go. So after making sure that Git is like installed on your machine, now you are ready to start learning Git. So for Git to work, or to first things first, what you need to do with Git, whenever you wanna like initialize your project with Git, is initialize a repository. So you make your project like a repository. So make sure you are under the root of your project. So the root means that the base folder or the base directory of your project. Here we are under the base directory, which holds all of the files. From here we can start initializing this. So by the command git init, so just typing git init will allow us to initialize. Git init, enter, and this command, as you can see, initialized empty Git repository under this whatever path of your project under the .git folder. So if you can notice that, it's just gonna go ahead and create a viewable folder under your project root folder. And as you can see, the color change of our files. So depending on your code editor, Visual Studio Code support gets a versioning and stuff like that. So as you can see, we get like a green color that shows us that this is an unstaged file, and that means we are good to go. So this first command allow you to initialize a Git repository. Now, after initializing a Git repository, what you usually need to do is to check the status, or you need to add files into this repository. Now, the files are under your project are not yet under the Git repository. Now, the Git repository is empty till you add some files to it. So the files you add is from your chosen, so you choose what to add as files. So if you can go ahead and type Git Status, this command allow you to show or to see the actual status of your Git repository. So make sure you are under the root file of your project, and Git Status, and as you can see, gives you no commits, since we have no commits yet, and those the red things are the files that we are actually going to add to the or we actually can add into the Git repository. So we can add main.js, we can add .environment file, and pretty much the environment file, we're gonna have like some configuration, just some kind of configuration, and the distribution folder, which hold both of the files. So when it says the distribution / means the distribution folder, also all of its children or all of the files included under this directory. Pretty basic. So the red means those files are not yet into the repository. So to add them, just use git add, and to add all of the files, whatever files you have into the working directory, use the dot. The dot means add all of the files into our Git repository. Else, if you want to specify that, make sure to go ahead and use like quotations and say which file names you can add. You can use like .environment, you can use distribution / but what people usually do is like using the git add, and they can use the dot, and all of the file is going to be added into the repository. Now, before doing that, we have to talk about something, the git ignore. So if you have seen like some kind of repository, or you have like a files, you don't want the whole files to be synced with the Git repository, or the whole files to be like uploaded into the GitHub or your whatever Git hosting you have, so, or added to the Git repository. So let's say what like usually people do, the .environments is not like a file you need to share with other people. So what usually the .environment file holds some kind of like sensitive data, like your database name, your database password, your username and password and email, and all of yours like specific sensitive data. So you don't want to share that publicly on GitHub. So you don't want to commit that or add this even to the repository. That's where the git ignore comes. So what a git ignore is, it like a piece of file that you put directories into that, or like a file paths into this folder, and whenever you try to add files into your container, Git gonna check for that file. If it does exist, it counts this and try to exclude any files are into this particular git ignore file from adding these files into the staging area or under the Git repository. By the way, adding this into your repository like knows by the staging like press or the staging area. So for adding that, go ahead and enter your root directory and type dot, make sure to dot ignore, so ignore, and make sure to type in this right name. It's very like a very important thing to type this particular name, and here we've got the git ignore file. So this git ignore file, what it does, it's just gonna tell which one you should consider pushing to the repository and which you shouldn't. So here if you can type the .environment into that, it shouldn't like added this into the Git repository. Now if we try to clear things up and go ahead again with this Git Status, we type this, and as you can see we get no Git or no .environment file under the status, which means it doesn't count this. Git doesn't know about the .environment, and it won't actually push this into GitHub or somewhere else. So you are safe and you are good to go. So now the .environment file is being discarded. Now also, as you can see here, we've got a problem, is the git ignore itself is not being discarded at all. So you can go ahead and also add this into the git ignore. So add himself into himself. Pretty easy thing. So go ahead, Git Status again, and do that, and boom, we've got everything works and pretty much fine. Now everything always works. Let's go ahead and add the files, which means the distribution and the main.js. So git add, and the dot means everything. After that, now everything is going to be added into our repository. Now if you can take a look, don't take care about this like close space. So if you can take a look, git status, and put that, and you get this with the green now. So those are under the commit. So all you can do now is you can commit this. So now Git is keeping track of those files that you have added into the staged area. So now whatever changes you do to any file that you have added into this, Git will know about that, and it's gonna just notify about you have done the changes and you need to add the changes to the staging area in order to get committed. Now this is like the most important thing about as you can see, to stage files or to remove files from here, you can use the git remove, which we're gonna cover later on this video. But for now, let's go ahead with a simple thing. So now we have the files into the tracked or into the staged area. So the first things we need, or you actually need to do with any repository, is to do an initial commit. An initial commit means a first commit first commit at all you add into your repository. Commit actually holds your files or your code and under a particular area. So let's say you have added like this feature, this function, hello world, and you have committed your word. So the commit that you have like just submitted only has the hello word. After like adding another function after the first commit won't know about this hello word. It only has the hello word. So it won't know about actually about the new function that you have just added. So you need to do another commit and so on and so forth. So this is what commits are about. They are just gonna hold all of your files that have been committed at this specific area or at the specific time that you have submitted the commit with the specific changes that you have actually submitted. So those actually what are the commits. So to do commit, so you just go ahead and git commit, and you put the commit needs a like specific message in order to tell which commit is this. So you just type git commit and the M represents the message. So let's say let's just gonna go with initial commit or something like this. So the very basic thing and very simple. So just pressing enter, now we have created a commit. So if we go git status, as you can see we get everything removed, but we get like the main.js is being like modified since we have just added some modification as I was talking in a couple of seconds. So now the commits, the staged file that we were having now that actually committed, and we were actually having no staged file. Now to check your commits, use the git log command. So git log command, what it tells you, or it just actually gives you your commit. So since now we have only one commit, it's just gonna show one commit. This is like the hash commit or the unique hash commit, which is like specific hash represents a specific commit. Only that specific commit has this specific unique hash, so you can reference this commit later on when you need it, and actually get like a bit of information like the Islampinus, who's the author of this, the email, and when or the date of submitting this commits, and actually the specific date with the time and the seconds and the minutes, everything, and also the commit message. So the log shows you which commit. Also, it shows you which branch this commit has been added to. So as you can see, the master is the branch. The branch, what I mean by a branch is holding a couple of commits. So like imagine a branch like is a container, and commits are like nodes. So commits are connected between each of them with lines. So each commit is connected with the lines. So all of the commits are connected to each other, and they are actually in that container of the branch. So they are under the branch. So branch holds a couple of commits. So when you like publish your code or something, you are publishing a branch into like your web hosting or something, your Git version web hosting. So this is what actually branches are. So branches are very important thing actually. So all you do to create a new branch, so let's say you're gonna have like the first thing, if you can notice in here, we have like a default branch gets like inserted for or created for us automatically by default whenever we like type the first commit, which is the master branch. The master branch pretty much exists on every single Git repository. So as you can see here, we have the master branch created for us by default. So the master branch represents the main branch we can work. We can create another branch if we need to. So let's say like we have faced in here under our code like a bug. So let's say this hello world function has a bug, and after committing the first initial like commit, we have figured out that, oh, we have a bug in here. What is going on? So we need to fix this bug. But what we want is do not take this bug seriously, and we don't want from this bug to affect our actual code or actual branch, which holds all of our code and working directories and code. So what we want, we create another branch, which is a new branch. Let's call this a bug fix. So this new branch, we're gonna just type in a new commit, which gonna work on this new commit is gonna work or try to fix this bug. If we have succeeded like fixing this new bug, we can take this branch and merge it with our master branch, which gonna like fix the bug on the whole code base, which is pretty good. So if you haven't we have failed in fixing the bug, it's very simple. We're just gonna delete this branch and like pretend like we have never faced this bug, or just like, I don't know, discard this bug or something like this. So we won't affect our code base anyway. Branches are a very, very nice way to manage your code, and it's like a high level thing to work with your code. So let's go ahead and start by looking around branches. So for creating a new branch, you simply type git branch and you give it the name that you wanna like name this branch. For example, you can name it bug fix. Like you can create this branch just for fixing a bug. Then after fixing that bug, you take the code that you have newly created for fixing the bug and merge it with your old code. So you will get a brand new code with a free or bug free or like fixed bug. It's pretty good to work with branches. So here for demonstrating branches and give you like a little bit of a summary or like a point of view how branches actually work and why they are very important to know as you want to like use Git for making the time on your like place and play with it, and to make things looks absolutely great when using Git on your code bases and whereas working pretty much as a developer. So let's say we want to go ahead and create a new branch. So as you can see here, we have like an hello world. And let's say like we want to create a brand new feature, like a big feature. So for just demonstrating purposes, just going to create a very simple and basic feature. So let's just go ahead and use get branch and create a new branch. Let's just name it like new feature branch or something like that. You can name it whatever feature you're trying to create on your work. Now we have got that. So just you can type get branch and you can just list the branches that you have under your repository, and you get like this green thing, which is the master branch, which is the actually check it out branch, which is the one that we are working right now, and the new feature branch that we have just created right now. So here, let's say since we are going to work, or they're just gonna take our old code and add a new feature to this code. So what we need is to check out this new branch. So checking out means you are going to change from the master branch to the new feature branch. So any new commit you're going to submit is just gonna be saved into the new feature branch, and then master branch won't even know about this new commit or won't even know about any changes you made to the whole repository in here. So since you are actually working on the new feature rather than working on the master branch. So you can check that out just by typing Git Checkout, and you type in the branch you want to check out. Just type in that and you can switch it to new branch. So here you can get Git Log, and it's just gonna show you the head is exactly pointing into the new feature branch, which is pretty good. And also just have here an only initial commit. So here what we want is just go ahead and create a new feature. So let's say this new feature is going to be like I don't know, something like new feature or something like you get something here, you try to add some kind of a feature. Just for an example, we're just gonna use like a console log and yay, like something new feature, and just get something like that, just for demonstrating that we have added a new feature, and we did actually add something in here. So here, as you can see, we have added a new feature. It's only saved under the Git or the new feature branch. So if you can just go ahead and Git Status that, you get like the modify thing under the main.js, and it's unstaged or untracked. So you need to add that in order to be able to commit it. So here we can go ahead and check out the master branch. So if you can go ahead like get and check out the master branch. So master, you can get the switch to that, and if you can go ahead get status again. I can't type. You get the Git Status, you still get this modified branch. So here, let's just go back into our new feature branch. So new feature, okay, the new feature branch, and what we want is to commit these changes. Let's say that we have finished this newly created feature and we want to like commit it into our repository. So here we need to add the changes. Remember, git add, the dot means add everything, and here we need to commit everything. So we just use the command and we give it a message like added new feature or something. New feature, simple as that. here we have committed something. If you can go ahead and use the Git Log, and as you can see, we have got a brand new feature only for the new feature branch. So the head is pointing into the new feature branch, and the new feature branch is pointing into our newly created commit, which is the add a new feature. But the master is still pointing into the initial commit. So the master has no idea about this newly created commit and has no idea about this new feature or something like that. It still has the old code, the old feature, no new feature is included into the master branch. So here, let's say that we have finished with this new feature branch. The only job for the new feature branch that we have created for is just making this new feature possible and making it work and realizing that and just making sure that everything's working fine. Now, after finishing with it, what we need is to take the changes that we have submitted into the new feature branch and merge it with the master branch. So that our master branch is going to have this new feature successfully. So it's just going to receive it. Then we can get rid of this new feature branch or, remove it since we don't need it anymore. So to do that, just use the git merge command, or merge command, and you need to check out the branch you are actually going to merge into. So what we want is to take the new feature, the changes on the new feature, and merge it to the master branch. So we need to check out the master branch first. So check out master, and after checking out the master, as you can see in here, the changes just goes away and disappears. The new feature disappears since we are now working into the master branch. So what we want now is to merge everything and make sure you are under the branch you want to send the data into, your master branch. So you can merge things. You give it which branch you want to merge from. So you just give it new feature merge, and as you can see, we get successfully the new feature added into the main.js, and we get some kind of very nice things in here that 6 lines has been included and 1 line has been deleted and stuff like that. Some kind of an analytics from Git to make you know what is going on behind the scenes. So as simple as that, this is how it works in a very, very nice and clarified way. So this is how actually branches work. Now to get rid of the branch, you just type in the git branch, and the D command means delete. So you give it the name of the branch, so the new feature, and deleted branch new features. Now the new feature branch has gone, and since we don't need it anymore, now it just has done its job perfectly, just creating the new feature, then merging things out. So this is like what branches are for, just fixing bugs or creating a new feature or working on something beside our main or the master code. Then after finishing that, we just take these changes and merge it with our master code so we can have the full code or our working code. If something failed into the new branch, we can just delete it. We can get rid of it without our actual code or our actual application gets affected by any of that misfilled file or fulfilled changes in a very, very good way. So this is actually what branches are for in a very, very nice and prettified way. Now, some of you might asking, we need to push something. Now, after creating this repository and all of this kind of things, we still need to know or to learn how we can take the changes and push it into some kind of a web hosting. So in this particular example, I've chosen in here Git. So since Git is free and open source and everyone can be able to access Git and use it freely, so I've just gone into my account in here, IPNOS, and I've created like a new repository, just called it learn Git. And what I'm trying to do is just gonna take all of that files and I'm just gonna publish it into this new Git repository. So you can go ahead and create that. After creating that, you're going to get this piece of information. So this piece of information, what it tells you, just going to give you this URL, and this is the most piece of information that you need, the most beneficial piece of information. So you need to get the URL of the repository so you can push your code into this URL. Make sure to use HTTPS. You can use SSH, but HTTPS still the best way to do that. So just copy that from here, and here you can, as you can see, it's just going to give you some kind of instructions to use it, but we don't need that anymore. So what we need in here to push things into, we need to first to add our repository URL. So we use the Git Remote Command. So the Git Remote Command gonna give us our remotes. You can have multiple remotes, like your production server. If you have a server, your main working server you can push your code into, or your backup server, or your development server, and so on and so forth. A couple of them are servers. So it allows you with multiple servers, not only one. You can use multiple servers. So you can use the Git Remote. Whenever you type that, it's just gonna give you a list of all of your pushing servers and fetching servers. But for now, since we have nothing, so it's just gonna give us that. So to add a new server, you use the Git Remote Add and you give it the name. So what you usually name your things is the origin, which means the main origin of your code, and between quotations you give it your like repository URL. So the URL that grabs it out there, just copy pasting it, and here you go. So just typing that, you have added things. So you can just go ahead and look onto this. So Git Remote again. And as you can see, we've got the origin has been added successfully into us. Now what we can do is just take our code and push it into this repository. So to do that, it's very, very simple. All you do is just go ahead and go with Git Push, use the command push and -u. The U, just gonna remember your your information that you have included right now. So the U, the first thing you give it is the branch you wanna or the origin or the URL you wanna push into. So remember that I've called it the origin that we have added like a couple of seconds ago. And the second thing is the branch you wanna publish or push it into your repository, which is the master branch. It's our current working branch in here. You can push any branches into any other branches under your Git repository, something like that. You can create custom branches in here and push custom branches from here into this one, and so on and so forth. But this is not that necessary for us. What we need is just to push the master branch into the repository. So all we do that, we use the git push -u origin master, and it's just gonna push our things into it. So for you, if this is your first time using Git, you're gonna get some kind of a pop-up in here, and it's just gonna ask you for your password and email or username. So you need to go ahead and put your username, put your password or your email, and you are actually good to go. As you can see here, username for GitHub. So we need to put in my username for GitHub. I can put in here my username. Also in here, what you need is to put your password. I've stopped it for a second in here. So what you need is just to grab in, make sure that you go ahead and put in either your right email in here and your right password to grab it the right things, then put them back in there. So here, let me try it again to put my email and password. So okay, I haven't typed this correctly again. I don't know, I can't type things correctly this night. So I'll pin this again and type in my password in here. So the password won't show up, of course, just for privacy, So the password, as you can see, you get the process. So first it compresses things, and it's just gonna work on objects, just gonna send them, and you can see in here, it goes from the master, the branch that we are currently working on, into the master branch into our repository. So now, after seeing that, as you can see, everything is working pretty much fine, and we have successfully pushing our code into the cloud. So if you can go back into here and we go to the code and we refresh actually everything, as you can see, we get our newly created code in a very nice way into our new repository. So as you can see, the same thing in here. I'm having only one directory and having the main.js and the .environment and .gitignore. It doesn't exist in here since we have added into the gitignore. So remember that the gitignore is just gonna whenever you're just gonna open up this file and read from it, just gonna ignore any files or directories are under this particular gitignore file, so it won't push them into the the server or the remote repository. So here we've got only the production things. We can get into our code, as you can see, in a very successful way, the styles and stuff like that. So as you can see, this is how you can actually work with the Git and pushing things back and forth between two of these. And also make sure to grab in the right username and password between both of these. Now, one last thing to cover before we end up this video tutorial is how you can get rid of commits that you don't need. So let's say if you can go ahead and use the Git log right now, and as you can see, we get the origin master, the new thing that we have created, which is our remote repository. So the head is pointing into the master, and the master has this is the latest commit that we have committed into it, which is the add a new feature. Let's say you have let's say you have added new thing in here, I don't know, something like blah blah or something. I don't care about that. Just mistake. You've added a bug in here, and you want to get rid of that changes in here. But when you want to do that after committing, so let's say you've added your changes to the staged area and you have committed that. So let's just try to do that. Committed. And as you can see, we get everything working fine. We can go ahead and go to the Git log, and now the master is pointing into this commit. So as you can see in here, what we're getting is like a full file commit, or like a wrong commit. So we want, let's say like we have wrong committed this one, which we don't want actually. We want to delete this one and roll back the changes. To do that, Git allows you to do that using the reset command. So the reset command allows you to delete any commit or any commits and just revert to the last commit before the commit that you have just deleted. And it just actually allows you to delete the commits that you were actually working on, the latest one. So to do that, using the git reset and using the hard flag, so just gonna allow it to double or like delete and reset to the latest or the previous commit. So here, and what you give it the head. So the head, where's actually the head is pointing. So remember here, if you can take a look, the head is pointing under the latest commit. You can check out the head, so you can detach this head and put it under any other commit. So if you try to delete the commit, you can take this head, check it out, enter this commit, and you can delete this commit, and this commit actually gonna be deleted automatically. So since this commit is coming before the latest commit, so the latest commit is gonna be like deleted automatically after trying to delete in this one, and you're gonna end up your head pointing into this commit specifically. So make sure to do not do that just by like this, and make sure, because this is a very necessary or very dangerous option to do, like deleting just commits. So make sure you know what you're actually doing up before deleting anything from your repository, because these changes cannot be reverted and you can't get your code back or your changes or your commits back. So make sure to like know what you're actually doing. So for that, you give it that, and you give it this really like the little create in here. What you tell it, you are telling it like a reference. So these called references. By giving it this little create in here, we are referencing the head commit. So whatever the head is pointing into, we are here getting the commit in here. After, you can get the commit by just copy and pasting this really long hash code, but you can also use references, which you tell it the head, and by using this little crat, you tell it that give me the command that is the head is being pointed to. So here we're getting git reset -hard -head, just type in that, and it's going to get head is now under the new feature. So if you can go ahead and git log, and as you can see, we've got up to of the latest committed commits. So now we are reverting back into the add a new feature, and the changes from here has gone forever. So this is how you actually get rid of the commits and stuff. Also, you can detach the head by using just the git checkout and checkout actually, and you give it where you want your head to be. Check it out. You can copy this like hash code of any commit you want to like the head. So as you can see, the head now is under the latest commit, which is the add new feature. Let's say you want to move this head to pointing into this particular commit, which is the initial commit. So the head only means that you're working like you work in progress. So whenever the head is pointing into, this is where you are actually working, whether it's pointing into like a branch and the branch actually is pointing into like the latest commit or something, you can detach this head and take it forward to like point into like free commits without a branch or something like that. So here you're just gonna give it where you want to put a point, and as you can see, head now is under the like initial commit. If you can go ahead with use like initial, as you can see, the head now is only pointing into this commit. So in a very simple way, very sophisticated way, this is how you can use Git in a very, very nice way. So that's it actually, guys. We have covered a lot of things with Git and how it works, how you can push things and branches. Branches is very important and very, very nice way to organize your data, your commits, and your code branches. So that was actually, guys, for today's video tutorial. That was a very nice thing. Hopefully that helps you a lot, and I'm hoping for more video tutorials like that. If you like this, push that like button, smash it in. Any comments, that would be appreciated. And that was actually, guys, I will catch you all in the next video tutorial.